stand back, stand forward. It could be a break. I've all gone quiet. I don't know what you're expecting, but it's not going to happen, whatever it is. So we've got a guest chairperson today. Yes. That's why you're all here this week. I know where you were last week, and I don't blame you. Seriously, if I had the option, I would have been out in the sun last week. Good morning, everybody. So nice to see so many of you here in your church, the Paul Christian Spiritualist Church. You putting your hand up, Paul?
Hello.
Oh, right. I thought, no, if you want to go, just go. And a very warm welcome to those of you joining us online, wherever you are in the world. Great delight to welcome back to our platform, wonderful gentleman from Portsmouth, Mr. Stephen Mayger. Stephen, so great to see you back with us. Really looking forward to your philosophy and your thoughts and everything. And your mediumship, of course. But yeah, he's a great orator, so we are really blessed to have people like Stephen serve us. Quick reminder, a little bit of housekeeping, mobile phones, all the hands going in the pocket, yeah, that's right, thank you. That'll be wonderful. Stop showing off the cat pictures. Oh, little Blackie, new cat mum in the congregation. So yeah, just remember this service is made up by you, all right? This isn't theatre. This isn't a show. This isn't a presentation. This is two people working with the energy that you bring in here. So if it all goes horribly wrong, it's your fault, okay? Got that? Wonderful. Enjoy the service. Lasts about an hour. Be a part of it, all right? Be a part of it. If you just sit there like that, waiting to be entertained or amused, you can have a really long hour. Seriously. Be a part of it, because it's a celebration of spiritualism. Stephen, sir, if I could ask you for your opening prayer. Thank you.
Good morning. If you just join me for a few moments in the silence. Divine and gracious Spirit, we join together to offer our loved ones an opportunity to share their survival after the change that we call death, to prove their everlasting love and guidance, and to show us that we are spiritual beings having an earthly experience, and that the love and the relationships that we have with them on earth carry on after that change. And that shows us that we are spiritual beings going through this transformational process of bringing heaven to earth and rising up in our spirituality, in our consciousness, and in our earthly lives. We ask for that guidance and that inspiration while we sit here this morning. So whether we get a message or not, we are inspired to make the decisions in our lives, to see the focus and clarity in the relationships that we have. And we ask for that blessing to be on all of us this morning. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Stephen. Beautiful. And now, if you care to, please join in with saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thine will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And leave us not when in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. And we now bring our hearts, our mind, our very focus into the art of healing. Healing for those new to us, for those who need that refresher, that reminder, is not a gift. It's not something bestowed upon the chosen few. Healing is expressing love. Hands up who can't express their love in this church today. Cat. Never mind. See, I'm expressing love. Exactly. We can all express love. Therefore, you are all healers. Simple as that. It is as simple as that. So during this time, we ask you to send out that love. Send it to wherever you are drawn. Send it to your friends, your families, your loved ones, yourselves, the environment, wherever. It's not for anybody to dictate or direct that healing. But we do invite you during this part of the service, if there is a person that you know who is in particular need of that healing balm at this time, simply put your hand up. When I point to you, just simply call out their name. That is all that is required. The intelligence of spirit knows and acts in accord with the divine plans. So enjoy this time of reflection, of contemplation, of meditation, and of healing. Thank you. Divine and infinite Spirit, God of our own understanding, we thank you once more for this time, this place, this moment, where we can send out that love, unasking, unselfless, just in the art of healing, of upliftment, of companionship and service to others. Amen. Amen. I'd now like to ask Stephen for his address today, but before you do, could I do a quick shuffle? Thank you. In the old days, everybody, it used to be levitation, do you know? It's an apples. Right, you stand there. Over to you, Stephen. Don't you dare.
Might be coming back for revenge in a minute. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So do you want to do reading and address all in one?
Yes, please, Stephen.
Okay, so prepare for a bit of a rant, but I want to start off with trying to explain something really simply that seems confusing, because there's a lot of voices out there talking about different dimensions, and it's quite hard to understand what they're talking about, especially when it doesn't sound right. There's a lot of ascension gurus doing workshops and what have you, and it's a lovely experience, but they seem to have skipped some very fundamental basic understandings. And we know that we exist in four-dimensional space-time. You can't have time without space or space without time, so they occupy the four dimensions that we're aware of with our eyes. The fifth dimension is your imagination, where you use your five senses. The sixth sense is the sixth dimension, the sixth chakra, the third eye, better called gnosis. And you achieve gnosis when you've got correct knowledge and correct experience. You have to have incorrect knowledge and incorrect experience to know the difference. What gnosis does is it gives you revelation. It reveals to you that everyone is connected through the collective human consciousness as one. We're all part of one mind. And that brings us to the seventh dimension, the spiritual one, which is why the number 7 is so sacred. It's a dimension where the golden rule applies. The rule of the jungle is the fifth and sixth dimension, but in the seventh dimension, we treat others how we wish to be treated, because we recognize that connection.
You called up the rule of the jungle.
Well, that brings you on. The eighth dimension is the realm of cause and effect. The eternal loop around two invisible points, that's cause and effect, action and reaction. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So that's how we understand that. And we all know that Cloud 9 is where the angelic realms are. When we open up in prayer and we ask for those angelic beings' protection, we're operating in the ninth dimension because we exist in the ninth dimension. When we operate in the eighth dimension, it's because we exist in the eighth dimension, seventh, sixth, and fifth, respectively. It's that simple. We should learn that with our ABCs, our 1, 2, 3s. But we're not, because it's a spiritual philosophy and that's been taken out of our education. What that then leads to is miscommunication. People aren't reading the same thing because everyone has their own path and their own opinion. But the problem is we are bombarded by information, correct and incorrect, and they muddy the waters. You go see a medium who gives you a message and you have the conviction that that was your loved one. But that medium also believes in things that can't be proven. And so it muddies the waters a little bit. And, well, one of the subjects I want us to talk about is gnosis. How, through mediumship, I'm having an eternal experience, receiving internal information and knowledge. And that internal information and knowledge from the spirit world has to be correct and confirmed by someone who's having an external experience to gain external knowledge. When you have all four aspects are correct, you achieve gnosis. And the gnosis of spiritualism, it proves that not only is Grandma still alive in the spirit world, but we all will be. It sets you on a path of understanding and it answers all questions. If something's correct, it answers questions. If it's incorrect, it raises them. So if someone says, when you're dead, that raises a lot of questions. So how does that explain how some people come to the earth, particularly gifted in music, art or science, and some people aren't? Whereas the proof of spiritualism, that evidence that proves the afterlife, it then shows us that reincarnation's possible, that past lives are a reality, that people have life after life developing a gift until it can be useful into the world. Someone like Leonardo da Vinci didn't just happen. He must have had many lives preparing him for the life where he made so much impact on the world. And you see, that is explained through spiritualism. But when you say, when you're dead, that's it, that doesn't explain it. That raises questions. So one is correct and one is incorrect. But we end up working with a lot of incorrect knowledge in spiritualism because of mistakes that were made. Now, if I say purple pineapple, all of you will see in your mind a pineapple and you'll paint it purple. But there's no such thing as a purple pineapple. And then you might be inspired to go and paint one day. And someone sees that and goes, oh, so you can get purple pineapples. So the mistake perpetuates. And you might even forget where you heard about purple pineapples and start believing it yourself. But they don't exist. We create them in our mind because our mind is so powerful that we can create these things and forget how we did it. Now, in the Bible, there's a creature that's mentioned 8 times called a unicorn. And it was a translation from Latin to English. So they left out the rhinoceros bit. The rhinoceros unicornus is the Indian rhino. It has a single horn and is about the size of a horse. So people in Europe who heard this drew a horse and put a horn on the end of it. And so people got a mistake. And now when you go see a medium and you have a reading with them and they get their unicorn cards out, you start thinking unicorns are real because the medium's legitimate. And the medium thinks unicorns are real because that's what they're seeing. But it was created by the minds of people who had made a mistake. And so the fairy kingdom, not that it's a mistake, but it's the way people personified the nature spirits. So it's not that they're not real, but they are created by our collective consciousness. That's how powerful we are. And so when we conflate spiritualism with these other philosophies, we have to make sure what's correct and what's incorrect. If spiritualism is suffering because it's not moving forward, it's because we need to cut out some of the incorrect knowledge and understand what is correct. So with evidential mediumship, we're asking for correct information that's confirmed as correct. If it's not correct, you don't have to accept it. But in many philosophies, you're asked to believe things that can't be proven. In spiritualism, we talk the talk and then we walk the walk. And we have to be correct or we don't get invited back. That's how mediumship works. And so we've got to look at how we're taking in information. If I can put the idea of a purple pineapple in your head, imagine what they're doing in the news when you hear the same thing repeated over and over again until you believe it. And so we have to be very careful who we listen to and how we listen to them. Spiritualism is this wonderful science, belief, and philosophy. But it's all got to be correct, otherwise it means nothing. And so the spiritual world, when they communicate to us, they give us evidence of their survival. They talk about what's going on in our lives sometimes, but they only really focus on the relationship they had with you in life. They don't tell us about aliens, they don't tell us about the ascension, they don't tell us about these mystical things we're all sort of seeking after. They talk about what's real, that relationship you had with them, and to focus on the people that love you. Everything else seems to be a distraction. You know, the little cat here, he only wants to have love. That's all that really is. And we can see that. But we get confused with all this other exotic stuff. So although, you know, getting a message from grandma, it's a wonderful experience, but it's not the be-all and end-all. The whole point of it is trying to show you what's important in your life. And all the time we're rushing around trying to build a career, pay off mortgages, and we're not spending time with people who love us. We're missing out. So that's the point of this message from spiritualism. It's to spend time with the people you love and understand things simply so that you can explain it to the kids, to the children. Because if we don't understand it, how are we going to expect them to grow up understanding it? And like I said, it should be really simple. So fifth dimension is your 5 senses. Sixth dimension is your 6th sense. The 7th dimension is the spiritual one. That's how we can communicate with our loved ones in the spirit world. The 8th dimension is cause and effect, and cloud 9's where the angels are. Beyond that, we can't really think. So let's concentrate on the bits that we can get right. Let's make sure that we're working with correct knowledge and correct experience, both outwardly and inwardly. It's okay to make a mistake, but you have to go, okay, unicorns probably aren't real. I see where the mistake was made, and I'm going to correct it. That shows integrity. And when a medium makes a mistake, they just own up to their mistake and they move on. Unfortunately, in spiritualism, people are very sensitive and they don't want to be challenged. If you say that someone's wrong, they'll think you're questioning their mediumship. But if their mediumship's right, we should try not to mix it up with things that we can't prove. So hopefully this morning your loved ones come through, they give me correct information, and you can confirm it because it's correct. That shows that they are alive and well. If it's incorrect, then I have to own up and say, I'm wrong, and move on. There's nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong, but there is something wrong when you try to perpetuate something you're not sure of. And in spiritualism, we can only say it's true because of the pioneers who went to the great lengths of making sure they were correct. A lot of the researchers didn't want to prove spiritualism correct. They actually were against it. But they were presented with such information that it was undeniable. And they actually ruined their careers by standing up for spiritualism. So I want you to be able to go home and sort of look to someone in your family and go, well, it's really simple. The fifth dimension is your five senses. The sixth dimension is your sixth sense. The seventh dimension is your spirituality. Eighth dimension is cause and effect. And cloud nine's where the angels are. So I'll just leave you with that, and hopefully it sticks. Thank you.
You know what? There is no such thing as coincidence. There's a lot going on at the moment within the movement. There's a lot going on in our, this is the whole world, okay? This is Facebook, and some people seem to think Facebook is the entire world and this is reality. Not quite. Thank you, Stephen. I love the explanation, because I have heard this and I've asked people, what does that dimension, well, you wouldn't understand, you're a man. Okay, sorry, I didn't realise the dimensions, were sexist. That's great. Anyway, really interesting, really informative, thank you, and really challenging. And do you know what? That's what we need. Because if we walk around our whole life never being challenged, where's the growth? Where's that movement forward? It's not there. So, well done. Well done. I look forward to reading it on Catch Up. Anyway, moving on. We now move on to our piece of music for the day, which is I Need Thee Every Hour. During this time, Sue will be taking the collection for the further work of this your church. Thank you.
Most gracious Lord, no tender voice like thine can peace afford. I need thee, oh I need thee, every hour I need thee. Oh bless me now, my Savior, I come to stay the
Wonderful. So, before we come to that part of the service where Stephen will demonstrate the evidential mediumship that supports our philosophy of we do not die, it requires your engagement. Now, I know I've been saying this a lot recently, but there's things going on, there's things out there. You know, each and every one of us, hands up who've lost somebody to spirit and would love to hear them. Yeah. You know, part of your journey to be here today is you've gone through that grieving process, you've gone through that loss, you've gone through the news, you've gone through everything that constitutes where you are today. And today is that opportunity through our evidential mediums to hear from them once more. So do you want to go, oh yeah, maybe, not sure. Seriously, be a part of it. Send that love out to those people that you really would like to draw close. And acknowledge that through the evidential mediumship. So we like a nice clear.
Yes. No. Maybe.
Get this anywhere else? I love you all.
Nice
Stephen, sir, over to you. Thank you.
Well, I remember all the things I forgot in my talk. Yeah, like you said, it's the people that you lose that you love, and when you hit rock bottom, that will propel you spiritually faster than 30 years of sitting in circle. It's those times when we challenge what we believe and we ask, where's that soul gone? Because somehow we know that we survive. We just need the evidence. And so I'm asking for evidence from the spirit world. I see in my mind, I hear in my mind, I sometimes get words across. They're not always exact. It's not an exact science. But if I get it wrong, that's my fault. If I get it right, it's because somehow they've got through my thick skull and given me a good piece of evidence. But sometimes I've got a mum and a dad, or a grandma and a grandpa together. One of them speaking and I'm seeing the other one, but I think it's the same person, so I could be a bit confused. It might feel like a brotherish, turns out it's an uncle, vice versa. So it helps if you work with me. I know a lot of mediums ask to hear your voice, but if you just sit there like that, I should be able to get through anyway. And I'm more or less in the right area, and sometimes, because your loved ones recognise you, they should do. And so I should get out the way and let them direct me to the right person. But if I'll come to you and the information's a bit off, it might be the person behind or around. So please, if I'm getting it wrong with someone and you can take it, don't be afraid to put your hand up. Hey, I'm fallible, so I have to work through that. Oh. And as I feel a gentleman coming in close to me, I can't quite tell which side of the family I'm on, but I feel like a grandfather. And he's making me feel that there's a resemblance in the features. And you would have known this gentleman briefly when you were younger. I don't feel a very strong relationship, but I feel a very strong affinity. You will know this yourself. This gentleman, I don't feel very tall. I mean, I was 6 foot, I'm about 5'11" now. And I've got this gentleman who's probably just a little bit shorter than me. And as he grew a little bit older, he would have lost his hair a little bit, but it still would have gone silvery white. And he's got a very sweet nature. He wasn't a very loud and obnoxious man, so he was just a very quiet and timid gentleman. And as he grew older, he just grew more quiet and timid. But he was just a lovely, lovely gentleman, and everyone would have spoken about him this way. I feel like I want to come to the young lady there with this sort of brown trousers. And would you recognise the information so far? Okay, there's a resemblance. You didn't know him that well. He's a very, very quiet gentleman, and he's making me feel you're very quiet as well, and that you're very contemplative and meditative. You know, you find it very natural. He was the same. He had a great ear for music, and as he's showing me, his ears would have kind of got a bit puffy as he got older. Yeah. But he liked that because he started looking like the rugby players he used to look up to. Okay. So I feel this gentleman would have had quite a tough upbringing. He didn't talk about it much, very little. I also feel he lost a lot of people to illnesses that were unnecessary because of poverty, and we're going back a long way anyway. And I feel that the family he had before and the family he left behind are two very different. Okay, so the family he's left behind all doing very well. He's quite pleased, and it's like the karma of the family changed in his generation. They went from being, living a very difficult life to much more prosperity. Okay, and he's very pleased because he felt like he'd done enough in this world. He took death gracefully. He was ready for it. Okay. He's making me feel very emotional when you think of him, and you're not really sure why you feel so emotional. He goes, but he's making me feel that you're opening up very, very deeply, and it's been very emotional for you, and you've found stability in it now. I don't know how long you've been coming here, but he feels very, very pleased you're here. It's like that was a sigh of relief from him. It's like, okay, I can gather my thoughts and think clearly now. I get the feeling there was someone making it very difficult for you to think clearly for a while, and now you are focused. Okay, there's a lot of love from him to you, and I feel like he had to come in first. Normally he'd stand aside and let everyone else through first, but he had to get to you straight away. Okay, so lots of love from him. God bless you. I've got another, more like a fatherly figure blending with me now. A very similar type of energy, very quiet, very careful with his words. He'd have to think before he speaks. A very intelligent man, and he tried to bring out the intelligence in people. He could read people very easily. He knew where they were just by talking to them, and he could bring out of them their very best. He was very good at that. It was a natural gift he seemed to have. He's not standing as tall as me, but he's a lot smarter than I could ever be. He's always impeccably dressed. His suits would have just had that extra little finish on it, that extra little flash of gold, maybe a little chain or a tie pin. Okay. I feel I've had this gentleman before. I want to go to the lovely lady with the red hair. I saw you came in earlier and you said you were feeling a bit under the weather. I feel this is father, and I feel he's telling me that I've brought him through before. I feel. Okay. Does everything I've said relate to him? Okay. A very well respected and looked up to man. I feel he was invited into a lot of gentlemen's clubs, executive clubs, but he didn't really take the bait, as he's saying. They're trying to trap you, boy. But he had this very, because he seemed very smart, but he could speak to everybody. I think he could drop his T's when he needed to, and he would blend with us common folk, do you know what I mean? But he was a very, very likeable man, but at the same time you say that, you feel a little bit small in his presence. He had a way of looking at you. And I don't think anyone could lie to him. You just felt, oh, okay. Best off just keeping it shut if you're not going to be honest. He would have suffered a little bit with his breathing, I feel. Okay, I'm trying to get a lovely dose of fresh air, and it's just, I'm finding it very difficult. And I feel that's when he started to notice this long, slow slide downhill, he's saying. But it gave him time to finally retire, because I feel he said he was retired, but he never seemed to stop. And he finally put his feet up for a bit and enjoyed his final years. A life well lived and a job well done, he's saying. I feel a little bit sadness as well saying that, because I feel affairs of the heart, he's telling me. Okay, and I think he's very private about that, but these are the things he's still aware of in the spirit world. Okay. He must have tried to keep this exterior up, but he was an emotional man as well. He just didn't like showing it. Okay? And I feel like sometimes I'm watching TV and I see something, I just suddenly feel this welling up in my eye, and I'll quick change the channel because I don't. Forrest Gump's the one that gets me. But this is the sort of emotional side of him.
Yes.
Why he's saying that, I'm not sure, because he's sort of saying, you're the same, but he won't tell anyone. Right, I'll leave his love with you. I also feel there's an anniversary around now. I don't know which one, but it's an uplifting experience right now. So, yeah, lots of love. Okay, I feel I've got a lady blending with me. And although I feel quite motherly, I also feel quite sisterly. Although I feel like a mother, I feel like we ended up as quite good friends. And with this lady, she actually feels quite tall and quite broad in her shoulders. She had a very nice long figure. She's looking back on her life and she sees it now, but at the time she never felt that way. She kind of felt a bit gangly, but she was actually quite an elegant lady. And I don't know if this is a mum or grandmother, but she kind of feels she would feel quite modern and very liberal. She loved pastel colours and I'm being drawn to the lovely lady with the green top. Would you recognise this lady as mother?
She wasn't slim.
Was she quite
Everything else,
okay?
yes.
Was she quite tall though, and broad shoulders, quite elegant, but maybe put on a few pounds?
Yeah,
Okay,
she had
okay,
a few pounds on.
yeah. I think she's being as modest as she can be with me. Okay. After all, I'm a young man. She makes me feel, like I say, very liberal, very forward, modern thinking, a good sense of humour, and like I say, she must have been mum, but there must have been a point where you were friends. She respected you, and you respected each other on the same level. You know, and that feels very. It's like you have a new life with this person. She was mum, now she's my friend as well. And she liked to read very simple and plain stories, novels. She liked to engross herself in those worlds, and she loved that. She didn't need to read all these autobiographies and that. She wanted to be lost in a world of romance and things like that. That was her escapism. And she loved the radio. I don't feel she would have been sat in front of the television too long, but she liked to have the radio on in the background. And she's saying she loved her life, but she never felt that she'd missed out on anything. She was very happy with her lot. Would you understand that? You know, because she feels like a very capable lady, but it wasn't like she felt she missed out and she could have done this or could have done that. She was very happy with her lot in the end. And a very positive lady. She could have plenty to moan about, but she wouldn't. You know, she's too busy listening to other people's problems. And I feel this lady, and if she might be talking about yourself as well, it's our kindness, sometimes we end up having people drain us a little bit. And it feels like Mum would have had that, and she'd learned to just be nice, but to keep herself out of things. Because she was quite an emotional lady as well, and you know, the need to help people can sometimes end up putting you in some awkward situations. Mum didn't feel confident that she always had the answer, so she felt a bit stifled, like she'd want to help people, but she wasn't sure how. You know, and if she had any regret, she didn't put herself out there as much as she would have liked to. So I feel she's also saying, with yourself, you kind of, you don't have to push yourself too much, but you go out and do those things, you know. And she kind of wishes she had done a little bit more, But other than that, she's got no real regrets. She loved animals. I feel she would have loved the cat as well, but I feel allergies with this lady as well. Okay. Maybe not so much with the cat, but I feel they got to a point where she suddenly was allergic to everything. Okay. She makes me feel very, not excited, but very happy with the way things are at the moment. And she, I don't know what I'm feeling is she feels like you'd like to be a bit more settled, and yeah. See, I was a little bit unsure of that, but yeah, she wants you to feel a little bit more settled. But she was lucky with her life because she grew up at a time when, you know, where you lived was where you lived, you know, and what job you had for life, and it was very simple times. She knows that, you know, we're always asking the spirit world for guidance, but a lot of our loved ones never lived in the type of world we live in. We're kind of on our own, you know, and that's how she feels. She would love to give you some golden nugget of information, but you seem to have understood life a bit more than she had the chance to. So she loves you very much, and I feel she's very close to you a lot, but again, it's quite an emotional feeling. So I feel you must get emotional out of nowhere and can't understand why, and I just feel that's because she's very close to you. Okay. So I'll leave her love with you. God bless you. I just want to, did she pass a little bit before your birthday?
Yes.
Because I feel she just wanted to hang on that bit longer, but she couldn't, you know, that she just wants to leave me with that. Okay, God bless you. I feel a gentleman. I feel a gentleman coming close, but I feel a lady pushing him forward a little bit. And with this gentleman, I feel not a very tall man, and I feel he would have got quite elderly. And I feel this lady is his wife, and I can't quite tell if they're mum and dad or grandpa and grandma, but they feel so close. Possibly were brought up by them, but it feels like grandparents. And again, these are a lovely couple that bounce off of each other, what we call banter, you know, and they seem like an odd couple that somehow work perfectly like Velcro. And you would always see them together. I'm not sure where I'm being drawn either. I feel I'm being drawn to the back there, to the three ladies at the back, but I'm not sure which one. I actually feel this lady's probably a little bit bigger than the gentleman, or they seem that way in my mind. She's sort of telling me to be careful how I describe her, so I'll just leave it at that. Whereas the gentleman, I feel, can you recognise? Okay. The lady on the end, do you recognise these people at all? Well, everyone in that general area, so it does feel like grandparents, but they feel very close, and they feel that they have a great sense of humour.
There's a possibility of one grandpa that I didn't know.
Right, okay.
And he wasn't a big man.
Okay.
I don't know about.
Right, well, that'd be great, because if I'm getting information that you don't even know, and you can find out and it's true, that would be golden nugget of mediumship. So I'll keep working with it. With the lady, I feel, you know, the pair of them's a great sense of humour. And even though they're a few generations back, they feel quite upbeat and modern in their thinking, their attitudes. And they're very loving with each other and with everyone around them. And again, they would have had it quite tough. They didn't have a lot. No one had anything back then, they're telling me. But they would have worked very hard at what they had. And they made a lot of choices in life to stick with the family rather than chase after, you know, moving around to make money on property. They were like, no, we'll just have this nice humble life here. But I do feel a lot of the family went off and spread out around the world and around the country though. So I take it you'd have family abroad, Australia and places like that.
Yes, lots of family. Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to sort of tend towards the Australian side. That might help you figure out who they are then.
No.
Oh, right. Well, I must have it slightly right.
To my knowledge, no.
I'm getting this sort of smile from the pair of them and a bit of a wink. You know, love's a very complicated field of activity, and maybe you'll find some stuff out, I don't know, but at the risk of getting myself in trouble, I'll leave that one there. You know. But I do feel quite drawn to you with it, so if you take the information, and hopefully you can work out who it is.
Oh, you're not adopted.
Okay. And do you know how many times I've had that explained? They go, "Oh, I was adopted, so I don't know," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," but I'm just trusting. Okay. But with that, there's a lot of humour, and the more I blend with them, the more I feel drawn to you. So I can't change any of it. Okay. What I feel from this lady is a bit of an affinity with you in personality. Okay, you see. She would say it very straight and plain, and so do you. And she's saying even the hair is very similar to hers, and the complexion as well.
Yeah.
I feel with this lady, she's making me feel that she passed with chest problems, but mostly she wants to say water on the lungs. Okay. Oh, what's it called? Pleurisy, isn't it? So,
Yes, she did.
okay. But I feel with this lady, she would have been one of these real, very strong ladies, and she's always in the kitchen doing laundry, making doughs, everything like that constantly. So she feels a very strong lady. She wishes she had all the white goods and microwaves back in her day, but they had to do everything by hand. And I get the feeling you're very similar. You want to do everything from scratch. Would you understand that?
Aspects of it, yeah.
Okay.
Can't cook.
Well, with this lady, I feel she's said as much as she's going to say, and I feel that moving on. I'll leave their love with you, and I hope you can piece together some of the bits I might have got wrong. Okay, so God bless you. I've got a gentleman with me, and he's very straight and direct, a very plain speaking gentleman, and he looks very similar to yourself. The gentleman at the got the glasses there in the corner. It was just looking at you, I can see him, and if I was to describe him, he says, it looks just like you. I don't know if this is a father, feels a little bit older, it could be grandfather. So I don't want to put your father in the spirit world if you're still here, but it's almost identical, except you've probably got a shorter hair and a slimmer face, but other than that, this gentleman looks just like you. And he stands very straight and broad. I don't know if it doesn't feel like he was in the military, but he's got that kind of poise to him. A very straight man, regimented in the sense that he was always on time for everything, very organised. Would you understand that?
Not enough.
Right, right. He's making me feel he made it seem quite natural in the way he was, but he felt almost like an imposter, like he had to work very hard at it. He was quite a humble, modest man in the end. But he didn't realise quite how much he had done with his life, if you know what I mean. He kind of, in his mind, he just turned up to work every day and tried to do the right thing. But that consistency is unusual, if you know what I mean. Would you understand that?
No, not quite.
Unless because I'm trying to make sure, if he's giving me information that regards to you, if that's your traits, you're very organised and regimented.
I can be.
Okay. Because this gentleman, he's making me feel this affinity, like he's seeing so much of himself in you, even though you might not have, it's not like he taught you that way, he's just seeing it come out of you naturally. It's quite a private man because I'm asking him stuff, and it's like he's not quite sure what to tell me. I don't feel he would have been a great communicator and not a great orator. So he's the same in death as he was in life, a little bit quiet and not sure what to say because he doesn't want to make a mistake. And I feel he's giving me this because this affinity with you, and you know, you're very reserved because you want to be right. You know, like I say, you want to be correct before you say something, and especially in this realm, it's quite easy to be bombarded with stuff that you can't quite prove, and you're on that journey. And like me, you've been a bit disappointed in what you've heard from people, but you've stuck at it anyway because you kind of know that the truth is there somewhere. And I feel that, again, he's very pleased with that because he feels like he's on this journey with you. He didn't get a chance to do this in his life, and he's doing it because you are. So I feel not only does he feel like a loved one, but he feels almost like a companion and a guide on this journey. And he actually wants to give me an image of, I don't know if you know the full card of the tarot, and he's stepping off with his little knapsack over his shoulder and his little dog just ready to take on whatever comes his way, you know, and it feels like this nice new energy's come into your life, this spiritual journey, and it's I'm getting a sense of the dramatic magnitude of it, you know, this great awakening that's gone on in your life. And it's not like, he goes, if I couldn't take part in it, I'd probably feel a little bit jealous, but because he's there with you, you know, he's part of the journey. And again, what he wants to leave me with are just lovely big thick books full of esoteric information and stuff that you're looking for. I feel this gentleman that he would have passed with, again, struggling to breathe, but everyone struggles to breathe when they die, don't they? But I just feel for the last few months of his life they were quite laboured and difficult. But it was a relief when he finally passed. I don't feel he's got a lot more to say because he feels like he was struggling to come through anyway. He's just not a very strong communicator, but he's glad he's got his message across. I feel, again, he was helped along from the spirit world because he's developing this understanding. But I feel very loved with him, so he's telling me there were a lot of people bringing him into the spirit world because he wasn't sure himself. You know, he was a little bit fearful of the process of death, and he's making me feel he was welcomed by all of his family on the other side. He's showing me, and I don't know if it's a little gold watch or locket that you hold very dear. If I've got that wrong, but I can't quite tell if it's a locket or a watch or something. And if you can't place it, then maybe look out for it. But I'll just, he's shown me it, so I'll leave it there. I don't know if you used to wear something around your neck and you're not wearing anything around your neck anymore, chains, or would you understand that? You used to wear something around your neck and you're not wearing it anymore.
When I was a motorcyclist, when I was younger, I'd have a cravat.
Right, okay.
Just like a red, type.
Right. I don't quite know what you said, so I'll leave it with that. Is he so saying he would have been quite smart and worn a tie, and you're a little bit more loose and right? Okay. So there's little shorthand things that I'm still learning about how I work with the spirit world, and it must be something to do with the tie. Because I don't wear one anymore. Just okay. I'm not feeling a lot more coming from this gentleman, so I'll leave his love with you and move on. But I just focus on how proud he is that you're on this journey and how he's sharing it with you. So when you're talking to the wall, you're not talking to yourself. Okay, lots of love. God bless you. I'm feeling a much younger energy come in. It feels like a young gentleman. When I say young, I feel like a young adult with this gentleman, but I feel very childlike, high energy. Was never going to be long for this world. If you look back, you know, he feels very like he packed in a lot of enjoyment in life and was a very positive person. It must have been quite a shock to have lost him. That's how I'm sort of feeling. A very bright, vibrant, smiley face. And I'm not sure how he passed. It feels like it doesn't really matter. He feels like, almost like an angelic energy with this young man. He's just very positive, very sweet. And you would think back, how can someone be so nice and perfect and so happy all the time? So it seems a bit of a tragedy that he passed when he did. I can't quite get the relationship. I am feeling drawn to the lady in the green with the dark hair. Do you recognise anything about this so far?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like family but not quite family, or not immediate closeness. Okay. But it's so much fun, and it's just his face is lit up all the time. Big smile, big smiling eyes, and whatever he's on, I want some of it. Do you know what I mean? And again, I'm not sure how he passed. It would have been tragic, but he doesn't want to focus on that. He would have been a fantastic medium, very intuitive, very insightful. I can't tell if he's into Arthur or Martha, you know, but he just seems to love everybody, you know, and it's probably best he wasn't around to see how miserable things got, you know, because just a very happy, positive person. He lived that way, he died that way, he's still that way. And you would be like him if it wasn't for the responsibilities in your life. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But you still keep a very, very positive outlook, and he must be around you a lot. But I don't even see him touching the ground. He floats in the air like Peter Pan. Okay. He would have been a very good-looking young man, and just very personable. And I'm even saying like dark hair but blue eyes, and just very attractive, and you know, everything about him was just lovely. But it feels like it's a bit like a butterfly, beautiful but not here for long. He's making me feel, again, your spiritual journey is his spiritual journey. He's a very big part of it, and I don't know if anyone's, you know, when new life comes into the world, people are looking and go, oh, is this the reincarnation? And it's like hopeful that it's him, if you know what I mean. But he's still around, and a bubbly character, you know. I almost feel like, with him, I feel like a champagne bottle that's just been popped. Do you know what I mean? He's bright and fizzy and tingly, and you must get these tingles yourself, and that's him being all bit excited that you're tuned in. He loved animals, and I believe there was a dog that he was quite close to, maybe when he was young.
No, like I said, it was a friend of the family.
Right, okay. The way he's making me feel is just, must have been very recently, just a lot's gone on with you, a lot of sadness, and banging your head against a brick wall, he's telling me, you know, and it's like, you're resilient, and you've had to be, and that he's saying that's over, and it's time to just get that excitement back up, that bubbly nature back up, and he's with you all the time. It's like you're his favourite. I'll leave his love with you. I feel that drawing in a little bit, but look, we don't tell people what to do. Just he's shouting, sit and take time for yourself and meditate and get back into your groove, because you've got so much to work through and that you can do, you know, mediumistically and connecting with him. But I feel it's almost, he's as eager to do it. He's more eager than you are. And he's like, I'm trying to be pushy because I want to work with you and it's fun. So I'll leave that with you. God bless you.
Lovely. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Stephen. Thank you very much, Stephen. A few notices for the week. On Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock, we will be having our awareness night. That's a night when we have discussion about spiritualism, spirituality. It's not a dem night, it's a chance to learn and progress and advance your spiritual side. Please note there will not be any Wednesday afternoons for a while now. We only had 2 a month. The attendance was not there, simple as that, so we're not doing them. It's very easy. But in place of those, from Tuesday week, we will be having an open development circle for your mediumship and your spirituality. It's becoming very, very apparent that there's an awful lot of emphasis on developing mediums, but we're leaving out the spirituality side as well. Because pair need to work hand in hand. All right, it's as simple as that. Mediumship is a faculty. Spirituality is your development. So they will start, we're going to run them for a season of 10, and that's starting on Tuesday the 9th at 2 o'clock. Please note circle conditions. Once the circle sits, the door's shut. All right, so that is just basic, absolutely basic. There is a £5 fee all donation. The reason we say all donation to a lot of the events is because I always believe that lack of finances should never preclude anybody from education. So if you're going through a tough time at the time, not my business, not the church's business, not anybody else's business. Just put a small donation in. If you can do the £5, great. If you can't do the £5, great. It's really easy. So they start on Tuesday the 9th. This weekend we have a workshop on Saturday, and that's with Craig Morris and Siobhan Worthington Lavery. And they'll be working together to work. Siobhan is a clinical hypnotherapist, and she's looking at ways of alleviating blockages. We all have blockages, we all have hang-ups. So she's going to be working on ways of that, and Craig will be working with your evidential mediumship. Craig will also be here next Sunday taking our divine service. The next healing evening is a week tomorrow on the 8th at 7:15. And going forward in the month, we have an evening with Billy Cook on the 20th of July. And we also have a weekend with Elizabeth Titterton, who will be here taking private sittings, a demonstration on the Sunday night, as well as the Sunday morning service. So the new newsletter is available in the hall. The website's been updated. Those of you who have subscribed to us online, you can only do it online, not by walking past me saying, can you put me down as a subscription? Because guess what? That won't work. It's as simple as that, all right? We will then start generating, in accord with now being a charity. So we do no longer have members in the church, but we're replacing that member energy with an online subscription service where you, online subscriber, will be given the heads up early of events coming up, and maybe the odd discount or two, who knows. So that link is on our website, so please use it. Again, please don't say put me down as a subscriber, because simply I can't. All right? I just can't. And I'm not going to, because I'm busy bunny. So that's the notices. Young man. Oh God, I sound old. Yeah, Stephen, sir, if I could ask you for the closing blessing. Thank you.
Divine and gracious Spirit, we thank you for bringing us all together once again, and ask you to bless all of us as we leave here today, filled with that healing, love and inspiration, and filled with that knowledge that we are spiritual beings, at all times having an earthly experience, and it is us who bring heaven to earth, and that we do that through our good acts and the relationships we have with others. And that's what we need to focus on. So we leave that love as we leave this building today. Amen.
Amen. Stephen, thank you so much for your service today. Absolutely loved it as always. Thank you everybody for being here. We ordered the rain to drive you all in this morning, and we've now set the rain away so you can go out and enjoy life. How's that work? Go out, have a wonderful life, and remember, spiritualism isn't about death, it's about life. It's about what we're doing today. So thank you, one and all.
Brilliant.